Hi! Welcome to Pulp Anime. I'm your host Blue. And I am here today to teach you how you can make your own anime using a free software called PULP. But before that, I just want to give a quick shout out to Gerard Budzenius. At this moment, my channel is pretty small, and I don't get a lot of views or comments at all. But getting positive comments from you on most of my videos has really given me a lot of motivation to keep creating more videos for this channel. So all I want to say is thank you. Anyway, let's go back to our topic. In my last video, I've said that I wanted to try to use a different software in order to create my animations. So now after I've tried it for myself, and animated with it the entirety of episode 3 of Carmilla, I can finally tell you with certainty that I like this new method way more than my previous one. In fact, I like this new method so much that I've decided to continue animating with it the rest of the future episodes of my show. And just to prove to you how easy it is to create animations with it, I'll be recreating one of the last shots of episode 3. So you can actually go ahead and download PULP right now from Steam and follow along if you want to create something similar yourself. But of course, before you can even start animating, you will need to have a couple of things ready for you in advance. And these things are a VRM model of your character, an audio file of what you want your character to say, and an animated background for your scene. I've already talked about how I create audio files and even 3D characters in my previous video. So if you want, you can feel free to pause this video, click the link in the description, and give it a watch. Then you are welcome to come back to this video and watch the rest of it when you are ready. But actually this time around, in order to create the backgrounds, I did one thing differently than what I showed you in my previous video. And this was to capture video files instead of static images. This way you will be able to composite your characters in way more interesting and dynamic scenes. But unfortunately, Gmod does not come with a built-in tool to export video files. But you can easily just record game footage with free softwares like OBS Studios. All you'll need to do is to open Gmod, load the game map that you want to capture, and then set the scene that you want to record. And once everything is ready, you can just open OBS Studios and record your game window. And now that you have all of those things ready, we can finally start animating. So in order to get the software, all you need to do is to go to Steam, use the search tool to find PULP, and then you can go ahead and download it on your computer. And now that you have everything ready, we can finally start learning how to use the software to create animations with it. So the first things that you're gonna see when you open PULP are two different windows. One of them is the display window with the final animation output, and the other window is the actual software with all of the tools and windows that you'll need to make your animation. But first, let's bring our own character into the software so we can animate it. So in the character section of the program, click on the button that says Add Model. And then you can select your VRM model from wherever you saved it on your computer. Then you can try and check that the different expressions of your model are working okay, and if everything seems fine, just click Save and Confirm. And now, you should be able to see your own character inside PULP. And if you want, you can already control your model's movements in the display window by simply pressing the arrow keys on your keyboard. And in case you don't like your default idle animations, you can change it by pressing the animation icon on your character in the model selection menu. I personally like the idle no shake and humanoid animations the best, but you can just as well stick with the default animations if you prefer. So you can already see how easy it is to create simple walking animations with this software right away. And very soon I'll be talking about creating more complex animations as well, but before that, let's go ahead and set up our scene's background. To do that, all you'll need to do is to go to the Scene tab above, and then click on the button that says Add Scene. Then you can just go ahead and select the video file that you recorded earlier. Confirm, select it, and now you can actually use it as an animated background for your scene. Of course, it might not look so good to you right away. For example, I don't like the cell shading effect that PULP is creating automatically. So you can actually change the settings of your scene by clicking the light setting button on the left. With this menu, you can easily remove the cell shading effect by simply increasing the intensity of your scene's light. Then, you can also adjust the focal length of your scene's virtual camera, and you can even add depth of field in order to create a simple bokeh effect. If you want, you can also add a bloom effect over here as well, and I would suggest doing it now if you want to make it a bit easier on your editing software later. But now, let's go back to talking about animation. If you want to create something more specific than simple walking animations, you will have to transmit your character movements from a different software. I'm actually using a software called VRM Posing Desktop, but if you want something for free, you can also use a software called VRM Poser instead. With these softwares, you can pose your characters in different poses and then simply switch between them by pressing different keys on your keyboard. So after you've finished setting up your key poses, you can broadcast them to different softwares by activating the VMC protocol function. Then, go back to VOP. And under the Broadcast tab, click on Body Capture. And then you can activate an option called VR Motion Capture VMC Protocol. And once you'll do that, the motion data should be transformed into VOP, and you should be able to control your character's movement by pressing keys on your keyboard. So now you should be pretty much good to go with everything regarding your character's movements. But if you want your character to talk as well, you will have to also generate the lip sync animations. And lucky for you, VOP can generate it for you automatically. So all you need to do is to go to your Broadcast tab, click on Broadcast, and then click on the option called Audio Drive Lip Sync. Then, you can simply import your audio file and play it.
It will all be over soon.
And as you can see, your character will then move its lips according to the audio file. So now, after you made the lip sync and body animation for your character, the last thing that you'll need is to add facial expressions as well. And you can add it by simply going back to the Character tab. Click on Emoji, and then click on the button that says Add Expression. Then you can play around with different sliders that control the facial blend shapes of your model. And once you are happy with the expression that you created, you can give it a name, set its transition time, and then you can go ahead and save it. And after you'll do the same thing for all of the expressions that you want your character to go through in your scene, you'll basically get a list of buttons that you can press in order to control your character's facial expressions. So now you basically have all of the elements of an animated shot, including body movements, lip sync, and facial animations. And you get all of this on top of your animated background, with no need to composite it later. So now, all you need to do is to bring all of those elements together, and to export it out of VOP as a video file. Unfortunately, VOP does not come with an option to export videos directly from it. But lucky for you, you can actually capture VOP's display window with no problem using OBS. Just make sure to switch your display window to full screen mode before you start recording. Otherwise your video will look like you've recorded it using a potato. But anyway, let's talk about the final part of recording the video. So I'm usually starting by opening OBS and I'm setting it to record the display capture from VOP. Then, I usually play the audio file on loop, and then I can activate the body movements by pressing my predetermined keys, and the facial expressions by pressing the emoji buttons that I've created.
It will all be over soon.
And of course, you might want to record multiple takes, and then you can choose your favorite one later, sort of like how you would usually go about it on an actual live action set. And by the way, I don't really know if there's a name for this sort of method of animation, because I sort of invented it by myself. I sort of came across this method by experimenting and combining different programs to achieve my goal of making an anime by myself. So if you have an idea for a name for this sort of animation, write it down in the comments. So yeah, this is basically how I make anime with VOP. So if you've enjoyed this video, please leave a like below, and subscribe to the channel if you want to support the creation of more videos like this in the future. See you later!